Election Night 2018. Bay Area voters make their voices heard.
We're watching the race for governor.
California is America's coming attraction.
People are working 2 and 3 jobs to try to make a go of it in the state.
And key ballot propositions.
Yes on 6.
No on 6.
The gas tax, rent control.
And measures that impact your neighborhood as control of Congress hangs in the balance.
Our KPIX 5 election stream starts right now.
From KPIX 5 News, this is Campaign 2018, Election Night.
Good evening. Welcome to the KPIX 5 Campaign 2018 live stream. I'm Alan Martin.
And I'm Melissa Kane. And the polls just closed, and we're working to get you results just as they start coming in.
We are monitoring a number of races, of course, this evening. We have a team of reporters across the state.
Yeah, watching the governor's race, Emily Turner is with the Newsom camp in Los Angeles. Joe Vasquez with John Cox in San Diego.
Our Juliette Goodrich covers the race for U.S. Senate. Andrea Borba tracks the pricey race for school superintendent. And Kristen Ayers watches to see if Libby Schaaf can keep her spot as Oakland's mayor.
And in Santa Clara, another race for mayor. Lynn Ramirez is covering that, plus a battle for sheriff. Maria Medina with incumbent Lori Smith, and Kit Doe with her challenger, John Hirokawa.
Let's get right to the race for governor first.
That's right. Our Emily Turner is live in Los Angeles at Gavin Newsom's campaign headquarters. Emily.
Yeah, good evening. In just the last hour, they've started letting some of the supporters in here to the Exchange LA, a nightclub in downtown Los Angeles. I'm going to try and hop out of the way and give you a little bit of a view of what we're looking at. This is a very, very upbeat campaign party right now. As you can see, the crowds are starting to fill in. Some of these folks are the folks who helped Gavin Newsom raise his $46 million compared to the $14 million that John Cox raised. I spoke to the campaign manager about an hour and a half ago, and he actually told me, yes, they're very confident, but it's not just because of the numbers in the polls or the amount of money they were able to raise for this campaign, but about Gavin Newsom himself, saying that because he has experience all the way down on the local level, that will make him an excellent leader for the governor's race, and they feel very, very confident. Not overly confident, they specified, but very confident about the outcome of this election. So confident, in fact, for the last couple of weeks, Gavin Newsom has actually been stumping for other candidates' seats for the legislature as well as the House, especially here in Southern California, that are very important to the Democratic Party, even passing along some of his funds from his campaign to them to ensure a victory, because he says, you know what, if I win and they don't, we're still not going to be able to accomplish everything that they want to accomplish. He says our goal is going to be a blue state and making it as blue as possible. Of course, we'll be here throughout the evening with the very latest and reporting back as these results start to come in. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Emily, I'm just kind of wondering, when you judge the room there, you know, you got to kind of read the room. What is your feeling as far as the overall confidence with not only maybe Gavin winning the race for governor, but also for Congress going Democrat?
I think for the most part here, it is a very confident room. They obviously have national news on behind me to watch as these elections come in. And when anything is going the direction of the Democratic Party, there are certainly cheers from the crowd. And so the level of excitement is high, as well as the level of confidence. And we'll see if that continues through the evening, Ellen.
Now, Emily, how confident are they that this is even going to get resolved tonight? Do they think that Newsom's going to be ahead enough to go ahead and call the race, or do they think this might go into additional days of counting?
I think they're very confident that they'll have an answer tonight on who's the governor, and that person being Gavin Newsom. Of course, you know, they've got plans in place that when the campaign manager was talking to me earlier, he said, look, he's going to start tomorrow on making some of these changes that he's got in store. We were talking a little bit earlier tonight about the homeless issue and how just outside of this venue this morning, I shot video of a man shooting up in that alley in between you know, the TV trucks. And I asked him about that. I said, if Newsom wins this election, how is he planning on tackling that? And he said, first thing tomorrow, he is going to appoint a state homelessness czar, and they're going to get to work on every level from the state all the way down.
Emily, thank you. Now we're going to go to the U.S. Grand Hotel in San Diego. That John Cox campaign is watching results come in.
That is where KPIX 5's Joe Vasquez is live for us tonight. Joe?
You know what? It's pretty upbeat here. Emily said it was upbeat at Newsom headquarters. The folks here
a very staunch Republican crowd. They've been cheering a lot too because they've been watching the returns come in on Fox News, and a couple of key U.S. Senate races got this crowd cheering, especially from Texas and Florida. But the fact is, they're not cheering yet about this particular race. John Cox running for governor. He has lost a series of races and never actually won a race. He was a long shot, they knew the whole time, but he has been doing better than expected, and they are cautiously optimistic, as they say, as they're waiting for the returns. I will tell you that we spoke with John Cox. He's led a careful campaign. He speaks a lot about the struggle in California. He's been very careful not to link himself with the president. In fact, he has avoided those questions altogether.
It's because it's not the issue. I have avoided it because it's not the issue. The issue
to a lot of Californians, Trump is the issue.
Well, maybe he should be with respect to the congressional races because that's Washington. But when we're talking about the governor's race, it ought to be about the quality of life here. Free at last?
Yes. On the campaign trail, Mr. Cox spends a lot of time talking about everyday Californians and their everyday struggles. He says his opponent is way too focused on lofty ideals.
Well, maybe that's the difference between living in Marin County, where he lives, and being in San Diego or being in the Central Valley, where I've been a lot. I visited a body shop in Berkeley. There were people there that lived in Modesto because they couldn't find an apartment that they could afford near their work. And they're driving 2.5 hours. I'm not part of the political class.
Cox is originally from Illinois, but moved here to San Diego County in 2011. He has lost at least 10 races, including runs for Congress, Senate, and President, as well as a handful of state initiatives. Tonight, as he arrived here at the U.S. Grant Hotel in his adopted hometown, Cox is optimistic tonight's outcome will be different.
We're going to clean out the barn in Sacramento. We're going to have legislature and a leader, a governor who's going to represent the people of this state and not the special interests. Thank you very much.
And we're back live. You can see the screen right here where they're watching precincts reporting. And I am being hushed because they're about to give a prayer. But I will tell you quickly as we wrap it up here that folks here have been cheering a lot more than they've been down tonight as their candidate has done better than expected. They say, though, they are optimistic he could pull out a very large upset win.
All right, Joe, we're going to be respectful. I had a couple of questions. We'll get to those. I know they're saying the prayer. We'll let you go for now. We'll get back to you.
All right, thank you.
And for a breakdown of tonight's races, Phil Mateer is with us on set. But first, let's just get to some results just now coming in to our newsroom.
We have some numbers for here are the governor's race numbers. Gavin Newsom, again, early returns, but Gavin Newsom was 61%, John Cox 39%.
That's right. Those numbers, the amount of votes that are in, it looks like that's Napa County. And we've got Eleni Kounalakis outpacing Ed Hernandez, a fellow Democrat, 63% to 37%.
And moving on to, here's our U.S. Senate numbers. Dianne Feinstein being challenged by Kevin De Leon in the state legislature where his background is. But Dianne Feinstein, re-election looks like she will be holding her seat in the U.S. Senate, the longtime senator with 54%.
Phil, what do you make of these numbers?
It's interesting. First of all, they're out of Napa, so that's a sort of an interesting early returns there. But it appears that Dianne Feinstein is on her way to re-election. It appears that Gavin Newsom is going to be vaulted back into the national stage. That's a scene he hasn't been in since he was mayor of San Francisco and officiated over same-sex marriage. So we are instantly going to be having California back on the front burner, especially as the shift goes on in the House and possibly in the Senate tonight. All eyes will be returning to California.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'd like to know how many people didn't vote in that Feinstein-De Leon race, or how many are not going to be voting. I mean, we've got the breakdown of percentages, one versus the other, but for a number of Republicans or conservatives, they say, you know what, I don't want to vote for either of these people. Or some, they say, we want to vote for Kevin De Leon because we just don't like Dianne Feinstein. Where they land is going to be interesting.
Time is done. Okay, exactly. But the bottom line is the girl's going back, okay? And she is from California. She's from the Bay Area. Gavin Newsom's from the Bay Area. and we're going to have a lot of power in Sacramento and Washington. Kamala Harris from the Bay Area. The kids are going back. Exactly.
Right. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but so many people are saying Gavin Newsom, this is just a launching pad to president. He wants to be president.
Oh, you're kidding.
But he's going to do more than one term as governor. He's not going to run for president.
Let's get him into governorship before we get him into the presidency. Besides Kamala Harris, they're already talking about the U.S. Senator from California. She's been campaigning all over the country, as you know, for Democratic Senate candidates. If the Democrats can hold at least the Senate and she can help deliver some of the House to them, she's going to be on the front burner. So, yes, in California, we are all suiting up only for this election, but where it pushes us forward, we're also going to keep an eye on some pocketbook issues for you. Gas tax, we're going to keep an eye on, give you the latest numbers, so stay tuned right now, all right?
Okay. All right, Phil, thanks. Polls are closed, but tons of people still lined up to vote at the Santa Clara County Registrar of Voters office anyway. Part of that may be because of the new state law that allows people to register and vote up until the last minute.
Yeah, KPIX 5's Kid Joe joins us. He's there with the latest. Kid.
Yeah, we're here right in the atrium of the Registrar of Voters office in Santa Clara County. Inside this room, easily a couple of hundred people still waiting to vote. The polls closed a couple of minutes ago, but here they are, and they're going to be here for at least a couple hours. So let me walk you through and show you how this works. This line that you see here goes all the way out the door and then around the corner. And then what they do is they wait in line here, and then they come to these laptops, have their information checked out, and that is when they are handed some paperwork so that they fill out what is called a conditional voter ballot envelope. And then they come over here, DMV style, they get a number. Right now they're on D90, and what it does is it goes through AB all the way through to ABC, all the way through to E, then 99, and then it resets. And then, only then do they actually get to vote. Here is the issue. There's only about 20 voting stations, and this is kind of the bottleneck right here. So people, you know, they're looking over the issues and they're taking time. And right over here, you can see this mass of people trying to jam their ballots right into these collection stations here. So we talked with the registrar herself. She's about 10 o'clock or so. When I asked if they'll be here at 11 o'clock,
a little technical difficulty there, but I'm sure we will reconnect with you.
It's interesting.
Tonight.
It shows voters how enthused they are. I mean, if you would have told me a couple of years ago, the people, and did you see that crowd? That was young people that were out the door and around the block waiting to vote.
And that's exactly why we passed the law allowing that same-day registration in order to make it more available to people who only think about it the day.
Was that the deal? Was that the, okay, we got to try something.
Yes.
You got an idea? Let's try it. Let's see if it works.
There were a series of reforms put in place after the very, very low turnout in 2014. This actually was passed earlier this year, but there have been a number of things, mail ballot voting, for example, other items like that in order to do just this.
Right. And it's like I said, they're hoping to replicate this around California and around the nation. And people do appear this election, even though it isn't the presidential, they think it is going to approach presidential numbers because people want to have a voice. Look at that line. Look at the people.
Incredible.
Like I said, it's young people, and that is always good to see.
And, you know, this is the first election, the first statewide election we've used this in, and so
ideally, 2 years.
Ideally, well, no, this is the first, the 2018 statewide election is the first time we've had this statewide. And so ideally, as years go by and we have more elections, places like Santa Clara County will get it together and have a better system.
Well, that's what I'm
sure
saying.
they will
In
find
2
it
years,
better.
It's going to be other counties as well.
Yeah.
And so if they can learn from this, they're not mistakes, but I mean, this is sort of the litmus test. You know,
it doesn't look like they were fully
cruise.
prepared for the amount of people who showed up
Maybe
there
not,
today.
huh?
So maybe next time they will be. And
Turnout's a good thing.
Smooth.
Turnout's a good thing. All right, facing re-election tonight, of course, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, her challenger, Republican Lisa Remmer.
Yeah, and if Republicans do win the House majority, that could put Pelosi in position for a monumental comeback, possibly as Speaker. Alrighty, so we are
Angelica Alvarez is.
News has projected that. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can now. Angelica Alvarez, you're in D.C. where it's very loud. Go ahead.
So, as you probably have already reported, but CBS News has projected that Democrats will take the House. They have now, there's already been projections that they will take the majority in the House. So now they are looking forward to some of the, to check off some of the things
things on their to-do list, like addressing Dreamers and checks and balances even on the Trump administration. We are waiting to hear from Nancy Pelosi. She came out and talked earlier today, confident that this would happen tonight. It was slow going at first, but as the night ticked on, members of the House started getting picked up blue versus red, so we are waiting to hear from Nancy Pelosi herself on what is next for the party now that they are sitting in the majority in the House.
Angelica, are they still looking at the California races, or does that projection not include the races that we're looking at in Southern California, or does it include them?
It doesn't include. They went ahead and made this projection because they had enough wins already from the East Coast on over, but then they already had a projected win for about 16 races that were too close to call. So Democrats again needed 23 to win the House, but it looks like they may end up with more than that before the night is over, including the outcome of California races.
Right, and our polls have just closed, so we haven't tallied those numbers. Angelica Alvarez in Washington, thanks so much. We'll be getting back to you throughout the evening. Appreciate it. Want to hear from Nancy Pelosi for sure. All right, back to some of the numbers. More results coming in. These are state propositions. Let's go with Proposition 5, which was the transfer of property tax from your previous property to a new property if you were 55 years old or older. Proposition 5 being defeated.
And Proposition 6, that's the repeal of the state gas tax, and that appears to be passing 54% to 46%.
And again, very early, 2% of the precincts reporting. But again, Proposition 7, the daylight savings change. What did voters think about this? It really doesn't hold us to changing and getting rid of daylight saving time, but it seems like a lot of people want the state to say, come on, let's maybe do away with it.
Okay, and Proposition 8 looks to be failing dramatically. 68% opposed, only 32% in favor, with 2% of precincts reporting.
And Proposition 10, which was the rent control initiative, would have repealed state rent control law, put it in the hands of local municipalities, but that is being soundly defeated with just the early reports coming in, with 72% voting no.
And Proposition 11, which would require ambulance workers to remain on call during their breaks. 65% of voters saying yes, 35% saying no, with just 2% reporting.
And as far as Proposition 12, which required some minimum amount of space for farm animals, that was the standards that have to be reset. The yes votes with 54%, no 46%.
All right, and now let's get a check of some of our crucial national races. Our anchor, Ken Bastida, has breaking news on the balance of power in Congress.
Yeah, well, you heard it just a minute ago from Angela over at the DNC headquarters. It is an historic night for congressional Democrats. Tonight, we can tell you the Democrats have taken the majority in the House of Representatives. This was predicted, but it wasn't a shoo-in. Here is the breakdown right now. According to CBS News, the Democrats have secured 220 seats. That is 2 more than they need to take control. The Republicans have 187, and 28 races are still undecided, including presumably the races here in California. She said those were not included in the total, so the margin could be even greater than what we're seeing right there. Now we now can project that Republicans will in fact keep control of the U.S. Senate. The GOP has secured 49 seats so far tonight, while the Democrats have 38, and 13 of those races are still undecided. Let's check Texas right now. Republican Senator Ted Cruz is the projected winner over the Democrat Beto O'Rourke. Cruz now has nearly three-point lead, with about 36% of the precincts reporting in from the Lone Star State. Meanwhile, Florida, the Senate race is still too close to call. Current Governor Rick Scott has a lead of less than 1 percentage point over the incumbent Senator Democrat Bill Nelson. There you see the results right there. The race to be next governor of Florida also very close. This has been neck and neck all night long. At the moment, the Republican Ron DeSantis leads by a single point over the Democrat Andrew Gillum. So that one not decided yet, but it's closing down. And in Georgia, Republican Brian Kemp is leading the Democrat Stacey Abrams by nearly 10 percentage points. And that margin has been shrinking a bit over the past couple of hours. This race is still, they say, undecided, with about 68% of the precincts reporting in. Now, obviously, we'll continue to keep an eye on these returns from all over the country. Alan?
All right, Ken, thanks. Let's get back to the race for U.S. Senate. Longtime politician Dianne Feinstein, former San Francisco mayor, versus Senate hopeful Kevin De Leon.
And here are the latest poll results with just several, well, it looks like about 500,000 people voting, 2% of precincts reporting. Feinstein is up 51% to De Leon's 49%. KPIX 5's Juliette Goodrich is with the Feinstein camp at the Presidio Officers Club in San Francisco. Juliette?
We are, and this party's really picked up. We're waiting for U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein to come, but right now I'm joined by former Mayor Willie Brown, a familiar face, and I feel like I get to get the cliff notes from you in terms of what's happening in California specifically. All eyes on our state. So let's start with the senator.
Well, California will be boring. Democrats are going to win everything except maybe one seat, and that is the Insurance Commission. Everything else is going to be Democrat, hands down, and including the number of seats that need to be switched to help Speaker Pelosi. It's all good.
Now, when do you think Senator Feinstein will be coming here tonight? And at some point, do you think that she was a little concerned, or did she have this?
She'll be here at 8:30.
Oh, you know that. Okay.
Oh, I know that. I'm the MC.
I did not know that. Well, then, of course you know when she'll be here.
She'll be here at 8:30.
Well, I appreciate your time. I know you have to get going. But before you go, can we just pan down on your boots?
The boots were
just when we saw the ruby red slippers.
They're so amazing. They just blew
There's
out
no
the
place
connection.
like home, Willie.
Although I have to say, he seems pretty optimistic. That race between Senator Feinstein and fellow Democrat Kevin De Leon, a lot tighter.
But I said there's only 2% in, and you looked at me and you said, so what?
So what? 2%, but there's a 2% difference, right? 51-49. Yeah, that's close.
Well, it's interesting. Among Democrats, Feinstein is generally in the polls way up. It is about a third of Republicans, third of conservatives who say who want to vote for Kevin De Leon because they are not fans of Dianne Feinstein.
That's what makes election nights worth watching every moment, because the polls may be wrong and we sit here and go, what's going on?
Well, I just mean the 49% may not reflect Democrat votes. It may just be reflective of some of those more rural counties, some of those less populated counties. You know, it sort of starts out on the right and moves a little to the left as we get the more urban votes coming in a little later.
You sound like somebody I sat next to at a 49er game trying to explain
the rules.
Things are going.
I feel like about 9 seconds ago you said she's winning.
That's right. I'm trying to back up.
That's true. You just call him like you see him, and now you see it differently. Isn't that right? But we do know she will be at the Presidio Officers Club at 8:30.
And maybe we can get another shot of Willie Brown's boots. Okay, what about what's going on in California with the congressional races?
That's right. We've got those 7 districts down south and sort of in central California where Hillary Clinton won in 2016, but also are held by Republican members of Congress, and Democrats have been targeting those districts throughout this election season. So we're still waiting.
Some are very vulnerable. Some, well, Darrell Issa is not even running for re-election, so that's wide open.
That's right. Ed Royce also not running for re-election. So
and these are important seats because even though they're projecting that the Democrats have control of the House, that is a misnomer. You have a control every time there's a vote, and every vote comes up. There's a lot of those Democrats that were elected in Middle America that are more moderate or even conservative than the California Democrats. And so to corral those votes on key issues, it's going to take, you need an added margin. So the Democrats' power is actually going to be determined by California, because if you don't have those extra seats, you're still wavering.
Way too close to fudging.
Right, exactly. You can't really mount anything.
Well, you know, and if you look at the current vote by mail returns that we've gotten up until yesterday, I think is the last day we've got the numbers for those. The turnout in those places are around 30 to 40%. So it really is going to depend a lot about what happened today, how many people dropped off those ballots and went to the polls is really going to determine how these turn out.
Well, you know, and it's interesting. We saw the long lines where you can walk in, register, vote, and vote in Santa Clara County, and I'm thinking, California, there's not all that much on the ballot that's really inspirational when you think about it.
No, you're right. We're not looking at.
You're not fired up about gas tax?
Well, no, that's pocketbook issue. He's got a point there. We don't have something, let's say, like gay marriage, things that you
the real issue. Yeah.
But we do have that gas tax.
Okay, yeah, we do.
Watching that.
We will, and there's still much more to come. We are actually watching the race for sheriff in Santa Clara, a number of ballot measures that, of course, impact your neighborhood and your pocketbook.
That's right. We're going to pause just for a moment and join our viewers on KPIX for an election update.
From KPIX 5 News, this is Campaign 2018, Election Night.
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook.
And I'm Ken Bassita. We have a first round of results coming in on this election night. So let's get right to the numbers, shall we? Let's check out the race for governor. And right now, it is still pretty close, but just about 3% of the precincts have reported in. And you can see that John Cox, the Republican, is technically ahead of Gavin Newsom right now for a few percentage points. And now the U.S. Senate race, Dianne Feinstein ahead of Kevin De Leon, the other Democrat running for U.S. Senate. And that, again, is with just about 3% of the percentage of the vote coming in.
And here are some of the big state propositions, beginning with Proposition 6. This is the repeal in the gas tax. The yes votes hoping to see some relief there at the pump. Those who voted no believe repairing our roads is a necessity and not an option. Right now, it's pretty close with 2% of precincts reporting. The yeses have it right now with 51%, followed by the noes with 49%. On to Proposition 10, the local rent control initiative. This would give cities more control over rent control. Right now, the noes seems to have it with 69%, followed by the yeses with 31%. Again, only 3% of precincts reporting.
All right, Proposition 8, this you saw in all the ads on television. This is the dialysis charges. The yes vote is right now behind the no. No's are almost doubling up on the yes vote with, again, just a few precincts reporting in. And let's look at Proposition 5, the property tax initiative. This is the one that would allow property owners over 55 to transfer their current property tax rate. And that one is pretty close. No vote 52, yes vote 48. And then Proposition 7, the daylight savings change. Should we change? Should we go back to standard time, full time? Well, we may get a chance to vote on that. The yes vote right now, 62%. The no vote at 38%. Well, let's get back to the governor's race and how both campaigns are feeling about the early numbers there.
We begin with KPIX 5's Emily Turner with the Gavin Newsom campaign. Emily?
Yeah, there are about 1,000 people here tonight, and the mood, I can tell you, is very confident, very excited every time they see Gavin Newsom come up on that big screen with the network numbers as the projected winner of the governor of California. They cheer. In fact, I was just talking to his campaign manager just moments before we went on the air, right this moment, and he was basically calling him the governor-elect, so clearly very confident here. He said that he wants Gavin Newsom to set the example for the blue state. I think it's also important to note that he says he's been campaigning for 3.5 years. In fact, cheers were even coming in for Feinstein. And on that note, he's saying he picked this particular location in Southern California to prove to people that he's not just a Northern California candidate. We'll have more coming up after this, but in the meantime, back to you.
All right, Emily Turner, thank you for that. We'll be back with more results on your local and state races as well.
And you can join us on our special Election Night live stream. That's on our website, kpix.com.
We'll see you then.
It amazes me that you were able to see your house destroyed and you went right back to work.
And I would much rather be out there helping.
Because every evening, we want to put the power of truth in your hands.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Glore, and we are going to begin the broadcast tonight.
The CBS Evening News with Jeff Glore. Original reporting.
One voice.
We are planning to mobilize.
Can ignite a movement.
We want to claim Alcatraz Island for all of the natives in this land.
And the Bay Area has been home to many.
A state of extreme emergency on the campus.
It was necessary to call out the National Guard.
Women were in complete command.
And San Jose State joined with San Francisco State.
The demonstration outside continues.
One of the activists live on the phone.
For 70 years, we've seen our communities speak out.
The way he helped a little boy who got AIDS from a blood transfusion.
But also come together.
Happy birthday, Golden Gate Bridge.
That kid saves the city.
Now we're ready for whatever comes next.
Let's go live to the crowd.
Proud to be Northern California's first television station, KPIX 5 News. Expect more.
That was truly a day that altered our times. For on that evening, KPIX went on the air.
The Beatles are just minutes away from the Bay Area tonight.
We're not going to stand by and let our people be shoved around.
We must escalate our protest against the war.
But they come here with the purpose of enjoying themselves.
There's another aftershock.
It's really terrible up there.
I'm a soldier in the People's Army.
Going in the end zone.
In the Bay Area, change has always been part of the story. But all this time, we've had changes too. KPIX 5, proud to be Northern California's first television station. For 70 years, we've been trusted to tell your story. And whatever comes next,
The latest in this original report.
know that's one thing that will never change. KPIX 5 News. Expect more.
You ready? I'm ready. I'm 10 steps ahead of you. I'm not buying what you're saying to me, but I'm going to let you dig your hole. No. You don't hustle me. Now we're getting somewhere. You're making up a story now. I can tell. I'm like a truth machine. We're done.
Judge Judy, weeknights at 7:30 on KPIX 5. Nob Hill, 1948. A tower goes up on this landmark hotel.
San Francisco's pioneer television station.
The call letters KPIX were short for pictures, as we brought the very first ones into local living rooms.
From wherever the news happens, the signing of the Treaty of Peace with Japan.
And along with the Bay Area, we've been innovating ever since.
KPIX has arranged for this first live telecast of open heart surgery.
You ever seen this little gadget?
We call it the Live Eye Band.
This is kind of the first computer of the 1990s.
Virtual reality is past its awkward teenage years.
Hi, my name is Pepper.
But like all great pioneers,
And this is your PIX Now update.
we keep moving
The
forward.
view from Sky Drone 5.
70 years of Bay Area stories. KPIX 5 News. Expect more.
What would you do if a date asked you how much you weigh?
Leave. Slap him. Cuss him.
It was going so well until...
Ask him how much his mama weighs.
Oh, we talking about weight, huh? Well, how much your mama weigh?
All new Family Feud.
You ain't got to worry about how much I weigh. You won't be feeling nothing over here.
Family Feud, weeknights at 7 on KPIX 5. Behind every iconic moment is a story.
No one in the country believed that we could do it.
And for 70 years, KPIX 5 has been bringing the Bay Area's sports story home.
How about just one more at bat?
How about a couple more World Series so we can keep doing this?
From the first televised game in Northern California, we've had a front row seat.
Tired of that Chucky nonsense?
Yeah, a little bit.
For the highlights,
All the band is out on the field.
the heartbreaks, and the heroes that changed the game.
Rain is a blessing.
Just an outstanding football game.
Let's go!
World champion.
The moments that changed us all.
It's a madhouse at Candlestick.
We never get tired of talking about Bay Area sports, but tonight, it's one for the record books.
70 years of champions and counting. KPIX 5 News. Expect more.
There is a unique power in truth.
What's your message to the people who could do something?
And whether the story is around the globe, across the nation, or down the street,
Look at this.
we'll find it.
It amazes me that you were able to see your house destroyed and you went right back to work.
And I would much rather be out there helping.
Because every evening, we want to put the power of truth in your hands.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Glore, and we are going to begin the broadcast tonight.
The CBS Evening News with Jeff Glore. Original reporting.
One voice
We are planning to mobilize.
can ignite a movement.
We want to claim Alcatraz Island for all of the natives in this land.
and the Bay Area has been home to many.
A state of extreme emergency on the campus.
It was necessary to call out the National Guard.
Women were in complete command.
San Jose State joined with San Francisco State.
The demonstration outside continues.
One of the activists live on the phone.
For 70 years, we've seen our communities speak out.
The way he helped a little boy who got AIDS from a blood transfusion.
And also come together.
Happy birthday, Golden Gate Bridge! That kid saves the city!
Now we're ready for whatever comes next.
Let's go live to the crowd.
Proud to be Northern California's first television station, KPIX 5 News. Expect more.
That was truly a day that altered our times. For on that evening, KPIX went on the air.
The Beatles are just minutes away from the Bay Area tonight.
We're not going to stand by and let our people be shoved around.
We must escalate our protest against the war.
But they come here with the purpose of enjoying themselves.
There's another aftershock.
It's really terrible up there.
I am a soldier in the people's army.
Going in the end zone.
In the Bay Area, change has always been part of the story. But all this time, we've had changes too. KPIX 5, proud to be Northern California's first television station. For 70 years, we've been trusted to tell your story. And whatever comes next.
The latest in this original report.
No, that's one thing that will never change. KPIX 5 News. Expect more.
You ready? I'm ready. I'm 10 steps ahead of you. I'm not buying what you're saying to me, but I'm going to let you dig your hole. No. You don't hustle me. Now we're getting somewhere. You're making up a story now. I can tell. I'm like a truth machine. We're done.
Judge Judy, weeknights at 7:30 on KPIX 5. Nob Hill, 1948. A tower goes up on this landmark hotel.
San Francisco's pioneer television station.
The call letters KPIX were short for pictures, as we brought the very first ones into local living rooms.
From wherever the news happens.
The signing of the Treaty of Peace with Japan.
And along with the Bay Area, we've been innovating ever since.
KPIX has arranged for this first live telecast of open heart surgery.
You ever seen this little gadget?
We call it the Live Eye Van.
This is kind of the first computer of the 1990s.
Virtual reality is past its awkward teenage years.
Hi, my name is Pepper.
But like all great pioneers,
And this is your PIX Now update.
we keep moving forward.
The view from Sky Drone 5.
70 years of Bay Area stories. KPIX 5 News. Expect more.
What would you do if a date asked you how much you weigh?
Leave. Slap him. Cuss him.
It was going so well until...
Ask him how much his mama weighs.
Oh, we talking about weight, huh? Well, how much your mama weigh?
All new Family Feud.
You ain't got to worry about how much I weigh. You won't be feeling nothing over here.
Family Feud, weeknights at 7 on KPIX 5. Behind every iconic moment is a story.
No one in the country believed that we could do it.
And for 70 years,
balances to the Trump administration. It's about stopping the GOP and Mitch McConnell's assaults on Medicare, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, and the health care of 130 million Americans living with pre-existing medical conditions. Let's hear it more for pre-existing medical conditions. It's about ending wealthy special interests' free reign over Washington, but more than anything, it's about what a new Democratic majority will mean in the lives of hardworking Americans. That's what it's about. Democrats pledge a Congress that works for the people, for the people. Lower the cost of health care by lowering the cost of prescription drugs, raise workers' wages with strong economic growth by rebuilding the infrastructure of America, clean up corruption to make Washington work for all Americans. We will take real, very, very strong legislative action to legislate to negotiate down the price control of prescription drugs that is burdening seniors and families across America. We will deliver a transformational investment in America's infrastructure to create more good-paying jobs, rebuilding our roads, bridges, schools, water systems, broadband networks, and schools and housing and beyond. We will drain the swamp of dark interest money in our elections, because when we do, Americans have greater confidence in everything their Congress works on, from health care to taxes to guns to clean air and clean water for our children, when they know that the people's interest will prevail, not the dark special interest. In stark contrast to the GOP Congress, the Democratic Congress will be led with transparency and openness, so that the public can see what's happening and how it affects them, and that they can weigh in with the members of Congress and with the President of the United States. We will have accountability, and we will strive for bipartisanship with fairness on all sides. We will have a responsibility to find our common ground where we can, stand our ground where we can't, but we must try. We have a bipartisan marketplace of ideas that makes our democracy strong. A Democratic Congress will work for solutions that bring us together, because we have all had enough of division. The American people want peace. They want results. They want us to work for positive results for their lives. Our founders believed in a principle that they knew must guide our nation. First, in our Declaration, they promised life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But they gave us guidance, e pluribus unum, from any one. The founders could never have imagined how vast our country would become, how many we would be, how different we would be from each other. But they knew we had to be one. Unity. Unity for our country. And that today the American people have spoken to restore that vision. With this new Democratic majority, we will honor the vision of our founders for a country having a legitimate debate, but remembering that we are one country. We'll honor the
Nancy Pelosi,
of our men and
declaring victory and asking for accountability, bipartisanship. She says enough of division. Americans want peace and they want results.
Right. She said we've had enough of all the ugly division. She did not name the president by name. She barely referenced it. Instead, she is pushing ahead with what she feels is the Democratic agenda. If she can deliver on that, is going to be wait till we see. But that appears to be the tone. That she stressed bipartisanship, something we hadn't heard from either side recently.
Well, it appears she'll be the Speaker of the House.
Well, it's easy to talk about bipartisanship when you've won. You can say, we will extend a hand of gratitude down to our minority.
We've heard that from the other side of the aisle as well.
Exactly, and yet both sides do a lot to sow division. And I'm interested that she has this laundry list of things that Democrats are going to accomplish when Republicans have gained seats in the Senate,
but some of these
and they're not going to be able to get that done.
Some of these things are what both sides have said they want to do, but they can't come to agreement on how to do it. For example, the president himself said, we need to bring down drug costs. We need to take on big pharma. Question is, will Democrats join in that, or will we reach the gavel and start hammering away at something divisive? It's going to be interesting.
See when they get to work. If they get to work.
They will.
All right, Phil.
All righty, and there may be a new top cop in Santa Clara County. Sheriff Lori Smith is fighting for her job in her first runoff since taking the position 20 years ago. And here are some of the first results. With 23% of precincts reporting, Smith is ahead 57% to Hirokawa's 43%. That's not an insurmountable lead, but quite substantial.
And KPIX 5's Maria Medina live in Santa Clara, where she spoke with the sheriff just a few minutes ago. What'd she have to say, Maria?
Yeah, you know, the sheriff left a few minutes ago to attend her own watch party. She decided not to stay here, but the people behind me here watching that race closely, among others. Now, as you mentioned, this is the sheriff's first runoff since being elected sheriff in 1998. During the primary, she fell short of the 50% vote threshold she needed to avoid a runoff. Tonight, she says she is proud of her campaign and the work they've done. Again, she spoke to us just a few minutes ago before she headed off about how she's feeling, and here's what she had to say. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling guardedly optimistic. This is my 6th election. I hope that it will go well. I trust the voters of Santa Clara County. We have a smart electorate, and I hope they make the right choice tonight.
All right, so during the primary, Smith told us the race had turned ugly and she was nervous. In fact, she didn't make a public appearance that night, but tonight, a much different mood. Again, she says she feels guardedly optimistic. She left just a few minutes ago, and she had a smile on her face. If she wins, this would be her 6th term. Currently, she is the longest serving sheriff in Santa Clara County. Back to you guys.
All right, Maria Medina, thanks so much. Polls are closed, but tons of people still lined up to vote at the Santa Clara County Registrar of Voters office. Part of that may be because of the new state law. It allows people, you go in, you register to vote, and you vote at the last minute.
Yeah, KPIX 5's Kit Doe is there in Santa Clara County at the Registrar with the latest. Kit.
Yeah, that is called a conditional voter registration, and we're here in the atrium of the Registrar of Voters office, and we've got a couple hundred people here who are going to be here for at least a couple more hours. They've been waiting, some of them at least an hour now. We're hearing that the wait is going to be about 2 hours. So if we pan over here to the left, I want to kind of give you the lay of the land here. These folks that you see waiting in this line actually wraps around the hallway, goes out the door, and then around the building. And then what they do is they come over here to these laptops, have their information checked out. Once they are cleared, they're given a ballot, they're given registration information, and then they fill it out. And then from there, they go over here and they get a number, just like you do at the DMV, and then you sit and you wait. So the window to do all this opened up about 15 days ago. So a lot of these people are waiting until the last minute, I mean the very, very last minute, to take advantage of this new state law that, yes, lets you register on the same day and then lets you vote on the very same day as well. So 600 people did this yesterday. They're guessing that number is going to double today, and easily we're hearing that these people could be here into the 10 o'clock hour. Back to you.
Now, Kit, the House has already been declared as in the control of the Democrats. I see still a lot of people there wanting to get their vote cast. Anyone disappointed to know that some things, at least nationwide, have already been decided?
You know, a lot of these people are very resolute. You know, I ask them, you could be in bed right now, you could be having dinner, be with your family, but they kind of want to feel like they want to be here because they want to be part of the process. And even though a lot of these races are already decided, the symbolism of it is important to them.
Absolutely. Their vote counts, and they're proving it. All right, Kit Doe, thanks so much. Got another race we're watching closely tonight. This is the race for the mayor of Santa Clara. Now, Lisa Gilmore was appointed to that position, and Anthony Becker works in the city. He's on the planning board, I believe. But look, Lisa Gilmore with only 26% of the vote, and she locked horns with the 49ers over Levi's Stadium.
Repeatedly. We have KPIX 5's Len Ramirez with Lisa Gilmore's campaign tonight. Len.
Well, definitely a party atmosphere here at Fiorilla's restaurant in Santa Clara. That's where Lisa Gilmore is gathering with her supporters at this hour. Now, we just saw a series of results that came across the big screen here showing that it looks like Gilmore is on her way to a big victory in this election. As you mentioned, she was appointed mayor in 2016 after Mayor Jamie Matthews abruptly resigned after Super Bowl 50. So she has been mayor since that time, and she has been accused of sort of running City Hall with a heavy hand. And here's what she had to say just a few minutes ago about that.
Well, a lot of times when you're in a reform mode, it's not pretty, it's not easy, but it's effective. And so those that do not agree with the reform are really objecting to it and objecting loudly, but it's a real small majority. I have a real solid majority on the council that is really in favor of reform and that's been able to help get it done. So it's not always pretty.
And back live here in Santa Clara, where Lisa Gilmore is about to make a victory speech. She has been showing a big margin of victory, 74% to 26% over Anthony Becker. I'll send it back to you as they make their victory speech.
Len, I just want to clarify, because I believe our numbers were the exact opposite that we showed on the screen. You're saying that she is the one that has the big lead.
She is the one with a big lead, and she is claiming victory just about at this moment.
All right. Len, appreciate that very, very much.
Alrighty, in the race for Oakland mayor, here are the results so far. We've got Libby Schaaf with 65%, Kat Brooks with 16%, and Pamela Price with 11%. That's with 17% of precincts reporting. KPIX 5's Kristen Ayers is following this race. She's at Schaaf campaign headquarters on Grand Avenue in Oakland. Kristen.
Right, guys, and just a few minutes ago, the mayor herself read those numbers, showing her with 65% of the vote on those early numbers. She read the numbers herself. A great big cheer went up here at her campaign party headquarters. Obviously, people feeling very optimistic about what this night could look like. Now, you have to remember this is ranked choice voting, and so the winner has to get over 50% to win outright. So that 65% number looking very promising for her tonight. The mayor spoke to us briefly. She told us that, while she's taken no vote for granted here, she does have a plan for her first few hours in office.
If I win, and again, it is too early to make that determination right now, but clearly the most pressing problem right now is homelessness. And I will be focusing my first hours in a new term with our unsheltered residents, helping to bring them off of the streets and into safety and services and onto a path of self-sufficiency.
And obviously a lot of excitement in the air here. The mayor is making the rounds in the room here tonight, glad-handing, talking to some of her supporters, and plans to be here for some time tonight until we have more clarity as more numbers are coming in, letting us know if that very large lead that she's established early on will continue to be the trend for tonight. Reporting live in Oakland, Kristen Ayers, KPIX 5.
Kristen, just a quick question. When the mayor talked about homelessness, did she go to the big issue of gentrification, and a lot of people who are out on the streets have been pushed out because their rents have gone up?
That has been part of the plan that she's spoken about, and she really has sort of, made affordable housing part of her platform. But at the same time, she's faced some criticism for being too cozy with developers, and that's where some of her opponents have sort of tried to attack her. So she claims that she'll continue to push when it comes to gentrification. She'll continue to push when it comes to homelessness, and push for more affordable housing in Oakland.
Very good. All right. Kristen Ayers, thanks so much at Libby Schaaf's watch party.
That's right. So, Phil, in terms of
this is an interesting race. Libby Schaaf, her first 4 years as mayor have been pretty much a rough ride. I mean,
Sure, she had the ghost ship fire.
She had the ghost ship fire, which brought into question whether the city was even inspecting buildings out there. She had the Oakland Raiders pull up stakes and move to Las Vegas. She had problems with sex scandals and other problems with the police department.
Mm-hmm.
And she's managed to weather that storm. And it's a very interesting dynamic going on in Oakland, because other people would have been having to fight much harder. I think part of it is the strength of
she lost the Warriors, too, I think people blame her for.
And then for the Warriors. But what she also did was take on Donald Trump on immigration. And when she blasted out that warning about ICE coming in, while that was controversial and went national news, I think it firmed up a base for her, and so she was safe on the left. But that's an interesting political. Keep your eyes on Libby Schaaf. She's made it into the national news, and unlike the last mayor, Jean Quan, it looks like she might be headed towards re-election, even though it's been a rocky ride.
Well, she had 9 challengers, but nobody really got any traction. Nobody really gained.
And by the way, also there was a poll recently that was done that said even with the concerns of gentrification, most Oaklanders agree with Schaaf's policy of building more apartment houses in Oakland, something that is springing up, and you're seeing cranes there as well.
So being accused of being too pro-development, or cozy with developers may be something that is a plus in some people's estimation.
If it gives them a roof over their head or a place to live. And
That's what makes elections so interesting, because we have all these thoughts one way, and then when the ball snaps, it can be a whole different play.
Well, ranked choice voting in particular, we had 9 candidates. I mean, it's always really difficult to poll and know exactly where the race is going.
We're in the thick of it.
Exactly,
right now.
That's right.
And there's still much more to come.
That's right. We are going to pause and join our viewers on KPIX for an election update.
From KPIX 5 News, this is Campaign 2018, Election Night.
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook.
And I'm Ken Bassida. We're back with more Bay Area and California election results tonight, so let's get right to the very latest numbers.
That's right, let's start with the propositions. Proposition 8, the limits in dialysis clinics. Right now, with 11% of precincts reporting, it appears the no's are taking the lead with 59%, followed by the yeses with 41%.
All right, let's check the next proposition. We've got numbers coming in right now. Proposition 10, which is the rent control initiative. It is losing right now with about 14% of the precincts checking in, 60% to 40%.
And on to Proposition 6, the hotly contested repeal of that gas tax. Right now, the no's have it with 55%, followed by the yeses with 45%. Again, just 14% of precincts reporting.
All right. Well, the polls are closed, but tons of people are still lined up to vote at the Santa Clara County Registrar of Voters office. A part of that may be because of a new state law that allows people to register and vote all the same day, right up until the last minute.
KPIX 5's Kit Doe joins us there now. Kit, this is astonishing. Kit?
Yeah, so the line itself is gone. That's because they've pretty much taken care of everybody, but still we're here inside the atrium of the Registrar of Voters office, and there's still a couple of hundred people who are queued up and ready to use the voting machines. We're hearing the wait for the last person who was in line was about 2 hours. That person got in line right at the end of when the polls closed at 8 p.m. We talked with her just a few moments ago. Here's what she had to say.
Yeah, we were going to talk a little bit about how there were so many young people in that particular line right there. And for many, this is the first time they have registered and voted. And Phil Matier was talking about this a little bit earlier this evening. That's a great sign to see young people coming forward and exercising their right to vote.
And you've really seen this push on social media for young people targeting that demographic to get out there and vote, that their vote matters. Let's get back to the governor's race. KPIX 5's Joe Vasquez is live in San Diego at the John Cox campaign headquarters. Joe, what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you he is losing right now by 10 points at the current count, but you wouldn't know it from this crowd. It's a jubilant crowd. They are watching Fox News, they're watching the national returns come in, and they are cheering every time a Senate candidate wins, a Republican Senate candidate wins. And so the folks here did not have high expectations, to be fair, that John Cox was going to knock off any Democrat, for that matter, Gavin Newsom. But they've been here, they've been optimistic, they told us the whole night. At this point, a 10-point race, which is quite a distance. It's not clear whether the candidate feels like it's enough distance at this point to concede. I will also tell you that Prop 6 is here as well. That's the gas tax. It is winning. All the more reason these folks are rejoicing.
All right, thanks, Joe. We'll be back in 30 minutes with more.
You're watching KPIX 5 Campaign 2018 Election Night.
And welcome back to the KPIX 5 Election Night streaming coverage. I'm Alan Martin, Melissa Kane, Bill Mateer. I'm in good company. They're the experts. I just get to ask them questions. What do you think so far? I mean, Gavin Newsom, not a big surprise. Dianne Feinstein.
That's still going back and forth. Okay,
yeah.
We'll see. So far, it looks like the returns are coming out from more of the Republican conservative areas that show Kevin De Leon being in a close race, which is kind of ironic because Kevin De Leon is more of a liberal than Dianne Feinstein. However, if Republicans are mad at Dianne Feinstein, they will vote for him, right?
And for some people, they may just see Dianne Feinstein and Kevin De Leon. I mean, we haven't had a top two primary that long, and just say, oh, I'm going to vote for the not Dianne Feinstein person and presume that that person is a Republican.
Okay, pull out your spreadsheet because it's still early enough that I want you to make this point. You had shown this to us earlier in the evening about where the early results were coming in and which counties typically report first, and these are the numbers we're seeing. So go ahead.
Well, of course, whenever you have election results being counted, places with smaller electorates are going to report earliest. It's easier to count them. So it's not uncommon to get more rural votes first, places, smaller towns getting their voting results in first, and then at the end of the night, later into the night, you start getting more urban areas. Places like San Francisco or Oakland or Los Angeles tend to report later in the night, and so it's not uncommon for something like what happened tonight, where John Cox is ahead in the initial results, and then you see what we have here, which is Gavin Newsom showing his lead.
But this has been a game plan that Gavin Newsom has been looking for a year now. Actually, 2 years.
7 years.
Well, 7 years to try to get to be governor. Actually, he wanted to be governor 4 years ago or 7 years ago, and Jerry Brown knocked him out. But the idea, he wanted to get a Republican in the race. He was deathly afraid of it being a Feinstein De Leon type thing where you had a choice between two Democrats. He wanted to define it as California versus the Trump administration. And as tough as John Cox tried to make it about California, about poverty in California, about issues locally, Gavin Newsom and his campaign ads and his team continuously made it about California versus Trump. That's how Gavin portrayed himself in the ads, and Trump played into it as well and helped it there. A number of Democrats in the state are getting lifted up because of Donald Trump.
And our numbers are showing that Gavin Newsom is ahead of John Cox by about 12% at this point, 16% of the precincts reporting, but looks like this will hold true through the evening and through the end of the counting of the ballot.
We shall see. Our Emily Turner is live in Los Angeles at Gavin Newsom's campaign headquarters. Emily.
Hey guys, as you can tell, it is a very busy scene here at Exchange LA, which is a nightclub in downtown LA. I'm going to hop out of the way, where you can see they've got a band on stage, and this over there to the right side of the stage is the rapper Comet. He's here. He's been a part of Gavin's campaign. You know, Gavin Newsom's campaign manager was telling me earlier that they picked this spot in Southern California for a specific purpose. They wanted to make sure that Southern California knew that Gavin Newsom isn't just a Northern California candidate. He's been basically running this campaign for 3.5 years, and they said it's been a lot of work, but that the real work will begin tomorrow. And he's calling himself the governor-elect, or at least his campaign manager is, in doing interviews. So clearly very, very confident here. But here's what he said about what that real work looks like that he says begins tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the day. If we are successful tonight, he's going to start on day one, convening folks. He's promised to appoint a cabinet-level homelessness czar to oversee statewide coordination of efforts. It's an effort that has to start at the state level, but continue down to the regional and the city level. And he's somebody who's worked at every level and sort of knows what to do.
And so again, he says that will begin tomorrow, that real work that will begin tomorrow. We do know that in just the last hour and a half or so, Gavin Newsom and his family have made it into the building, so they are here. We anticipate them to come onto the stage at some point this evening and make that speech. Of course, we will be here to bring that to you live, but in the meantime, I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Emily, having trouble hearing you, and you can't hear us, so we'll get back to you in a bit, though.
It's interesting. I asked Gavin Newsom why he was down in L.A. and I can't spend 8 years telling folks in L.A. that I have their best interests and be in San Francisco. So.
He was here last night.
That's a good point.
We'll give him a pass.
He voted here. He voted in Larkspur today, or Tiburon.
And at the U.S. Grant Hotel in San Diego, the John Cox campaign is also watching the results come in, but that's also where the Prop 6 supporters are gathered tonight. It's a yes on 6. That means a repeal of the gas tax, and so far it is behind 44% to 56%, with about 16% of precincts reporting.
All right, let's get right to Joe Vasquez, who is there for us. Joe, what are you hearing?
Well, you know what's interesting here, and by the way, it's a little loud in the background. We've got candidates from San Diego County addressing the crowd. They do this every election. But I will tell you that even the folks who put forward Prop 6, and this was a Republican-led effort, said that it was a little confusing because you're voting yes to repeal. So you're voting yes, but it really means no to the gas tax. And this is a gas tax that has been earmarked to fix infrastructure in California. But the folks who put forward this initiative, Proposition 6, said they didn't believe it was being done fairly, and they wanted the people to decide.
It's an unfair tax on some of the hardest working families in California who simply are trying to make ends meet. And for some, this tax means Christmas is off the table, and we're trying to help ensure that these people, these working class families, are represented.
If we're not up enough, by the end of the night, the Democrats will steal it tomorrow.
And we're back live. I'm just informed here in San Diego County, yes on 6 is doing well. It is actually up by 10 points. Statewide, much different story. It is going down at this point by a dozen points or so, I believe. So that is the wrap up here on the gas tax. It is being held, this party, in the very same room that the John Cox for Governor campaign is holding their watch party. And we're still awaiting word there.
Now, Joe, the Yes on 6 team has filed some legal action, specifically against the state attorney general, saying that the ballot measure was purposefully worded in a way that's confusing in an effort to make sure that this proposition failed. Has anyone said whether and how they're going to pursue that legal action that's already been filed after Election Day?
Well, I haven't talked to them specifically about the legal action, but they will go on and on about how confusing it turned out to be on the ballot. It was not how they wished. They wanted to make it very clear that yes on 6 meant no on the gas tax. And so, but what it ended up being is topsy-turvy. In fact, I had an interesting conversation with one of the Republican aides here who's been working on Yes on 6. He likened it to Prop 8 back in 2008. That was the one, if you remember, that was the one where the voters of California had to decide whether we would allow same-sex marriage. A yes on 8 back then meant no to same-sex marriage. A similar dynamic this time. And by the way, interesting conversation, Melissa, because the gentleman I was speaking with, he said, I happen to be gay and I was against Prop 8 at the time, but now he is working for Prop 6. So sort that out.
We'll let you do some more investigating there. Thank you so much, Joe. You know, Joe's got a great point. You know, when you poll Prop 6, when you poll the gas tax and you say, do you want to repeal the gas tax? Huge numbers of people say, question. Absolutely, we hate the gas tax. But then when you poll the question on the ballot,
it doesn't have the word gas or tax in it.
No,
it says,
it has
do you want to repeal or pull back on the road improvement funds? No. And add on there the fact that it's yes, no, reverse. Yes, all those things come into play on an issue, which is why 2 out of 3 ballot measures go down in defeat. Voters just have a propensity to say no. And all your campaign, if you're on the no side, and we've seen this, is give a reason to say no. And chances are voters will, if they hesitate, they will go no.
And how many hundreds of millions of dollars spent on the propositions and the bond measures? Is like 400?
No, it was 377 million so far.
Well, and I'll say, you know, one of the things that's happening in this election is money is appears to be correlated to success or failure. So if you look at Prop 6, the Republicans spent about $4 million in favor of it, and as opposed to it, $44 million, and now it's going down. Prop 8, similar.
But you're also looking at the phenomenon of saying no. Just say no. Whether it's rent control of this, find something in it that says it doesn't do exactly what it says. Highlight that with a hard drive, and voters will say, you know something, maybe I'll give it back to the legislature and let them try again, rather than having me play lawmaker. I'll just say no. That way nothing changes. And voters sometimes are comfortable with that.
No pushback. No pushback. All right, Phil, thanks. We're going to take a look at some of the local measures around the Bay Area. Let's begin with Alameda County, and that is Measure U, Livermore Health Cost Regulation, passing with 83%, 8% of the precincts in.
That's right, and Measure W, that's the tax on vacant property in Oakland, and that is passing overwhelmingly with 8% of precincts reporting 83% to 17%. Moving on, well, there is Measure W there, the vacant property tax, and now Measure Y, which was the eviction issue in Oakland. 17%, but only 4% vote difference here, with yes at 52%. And Measure AA in Half Moon Bay would okay. Well, we are going to move ahead on. We're going to move ahead on that. You know, that Oakland vacancy, vacancy issue is so. You know, Susie Steinwell, our reporter, has done some really great work on that issue. They've got some very interesting loopholes in their rent control law that really create incentives for some very interesting behavior.
And the way the economy has gone, the way rents have gone, the way gentrification has gone, it really puts the pressure to close these loopholes, because people fall through those cracks.
That's true. And if it's a loophole in the context of a larger rent control scheme, having these certain little places that don't necessarily make sense strike people as unfair. But like Prop 10, a lot of money being spent to keep the loopholes.
Follow the money.
Right, as opposed to the city councilor, somebody actually sitting down and trying to work something out, you know. Democracy is a very active sport, and we're oftentimes asked to play positions we had no idea we were going to be doing. Dialysis, for example, all of a sudden we're supposed to become experts on dialysis funding?
I didn't know there was big dialysis is the way they call it.
You didn't know that
was big in front of something, and there you go.
That sells it as well.
Yeah.
I had to Google what dialysis is. It's absolutely, an incredible thing to have to do multiple times a week, but I didn't even know what it was.
But you have to have it.
On all of these measures, it's going to be interesting as the night progresses, because while we're reporting these early results, let's keep in mind there are people literally out the door today to vote, and those votes are yet to be counted. So there's a lot
that's why
to
they're
come
still
in.
Standing in line.
A lot of different things to be decided in the next couple of hours.
Here it is, 10, 11 minutes after 9 o'clock, and people are still standing in line to get their vote counted, to cast their vote, have it counted.
Well, it's a good thing that they're viewing this as something that's important and worthwhile and worth their time.
Absolutely.
And we are watching some high-stakes races around the country.
Yes, the big power shift tonight in the House of Representatives for sure. Anchor Ken Bastida here. He's got the latest numbers on that. Ken, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is, Alan. Very interesting. Maybe not the blue tidal wave that was predicted, but certainly some blue in the water, that's for sure. It is an historic night for congressional Democrats. Tonight, we can tell you the Democrats have, in fact, taken the majority in the House of Representatives. Here's the breakdown. According to CBS News, the Democrats have secured 220 seats. That is 2 more than they need to take control. The Republicans have 187. But get this, 28 races are still undecided. And virtually all the networks, including CBS, have predicted that margin of victory will favor the Democrats. We now can project that Republicans, though, will be keeping control of the U.S. Senate. The GOP has secured 51 seats so far tonight, while the Democrats have 42. There are 13 races still undecided there. Let's go down to Texas, a Lone Star State. Republican Senator Ted Cruz is the projected winner over Democrat Beto O'Rourke. Cruz now has a 3-point lead with about 78% of the precincts reporting. And moving on down to Florida, the Senate race still too close to call officially, although the current governor, Rick Scott, has a lead of less than 1 percentage point over the incumbent Senator Democrat Bill Nelson. Now, the race to be the next governor of Florida is now decided. They are saying Republican Ron DeSantis is the projected winner over Democrat Andrew Gillum. That was a tight race as well. And in Georgia, Republican Brian Kemp leading Democrat Stacey Abrams by nearly 6 percentage points. It's been hovering between 6 and 12. That margin has been shrinking, though, all evening long, down to 6 percentage points now. This race is still undecided officially, but there are 92% of the precincts reported in, so we'll keep an eye on that one. And we'll continue to keep an eye on all of the national races for you and get back to you. Melissa?
Thanks, Ken. Let's go right now to Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is speaking at the
Now I go to
Club.
the Senate with 25 years under my belt, with a great with a great constituency to represent. This state, the 5th largest economic power on earth, over 40 million people, bigger than 21 states and the District of Columbia put together, needs strong representation. And what I've learned is because the state is so big, one really has to be very active. Because if you take the money from California, you can split it with a number of other states. And California has but 2 senators. So the ability really is to be in a place, a time, and on a committee where you can get things done for your state. And in the most part, that's something called appropriations, which I now have considerable seniority on. And when Joe Biden, some 20+ years ago, asked me if I would be willing to be the first woman on the Senate Judiciary Committee, I said to him, Joe, I'm not a lawyer. And he said, that doesn't matter, but things here have to change. And that was following directly the Anita Hill hearings. Now, maybe some of you are too young to remember this, but I happened to have been in an airport and I saw a big group of people around a television set. So I went over to take a look. And what did I see but an all-male Senate Judiciary Committee grilling Anita Hill. And it was not nice. And it was not what one would like to see. And that was my incentive to run in 1992. It became the Year of the Woman because both Barbara Boxer and I were elected from California, 2 women from Washington and 2 women from Maine. And we broke the lock on power for women in the Senate of the United States. So we are now up in the 20s and growing. And the pride I take in seeing this institution grow, widen, and change is just enormous. There's still very, very big problems out there. There are problems for women. There are problems for young women. The Me Too movement. There are problems in our economy that need to be straightened out, in our social structure that need to be straightened out, education, all these things that make a great nation like ours, we can participate in with specifics. And I just want you to know that this is the greatest honor in my life, to represent my city and my state in the Senate of the United States. And I want you to know that the number of you that are here, because after all, I've had a few terms, is really surprising to me. And as I walked into this jammed room, somewhat overheated, I thought, you know, how lucky I am to have a constituency like this. How lucky I am to have a family, husband, daughter, stepdaughters that support me. And I just want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that I will do everything in my power to be the kind and type of United States Senator, not only that I have been, but hopefully, having learned from the years, gained the experience, able to provide the leadership as the lead Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, first woman.
And there you have it, Senator Dianne Feinstein declaring victory. No word on whether State Senator Kevin De Leon has called to concede the race yet. We still only have about 18% of precincts reporting.
But she is pretty confident. She is back in there for another 6 years.
That's right. I'm confident as well. I called it, backpedaled, and now I'm
back in.
Okay.
You're allowed.
As you can see there, 54% to 46% with 18% of precincts reporting. Feinstein has declared victory in the U.S. Senate race.
Look, if it stays that close, does that surprise you, Phil? I mean,
it is, you know, let's be honest about it. Dianne Feinstein going into this race faced a number of challenges. First of all, she's been around the state for a long time, and while that does have a certain amount of cachet, people get tired of seeing you, okay? Second of all, age. Like it or not, it became an issue early on. She was challenged about it. People called it new blood, but they were basically saying, is she too old? Third, when she talked about trying to work with the president, remember the reaction in the state, especially among some of the more liberal Democrats saying, no, we're not interested in working, we're interested in resisting. That is what, in fact, prompted Kevin De Leon's campaign. Her own Democratic Party did not endorse her for her reelection. That was a heck of a slap, even though she carried every county in the primary. So it was not it was a bumpy ride for what is likely to be her last term. And finally, the Kavanaugh hearings, in which she became the ranking member who had the letter from the woman accusing Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct in his teens, and she held on to it. She took it from both sides. Democrats weren't happy with her, Republicans weren't, and some Republicans, I think, voted again for anybody but Dianne Feinstein.
Well, you know, I actually asked her about that. I said, you know, Democrats took a hit for that Kavanaugh confirmation. If you had to do it again, would you do it the same way? And she said, yes, I would. She said history will be the judge of that process.
And so right now, the voters are judging.
Right. She's got 6 more years.
That's true. Let's take a look at some other top state races.
Let's go ahead and begin with the race for lieutenant governor with 19% of the precincts in. Eleni Kounalakis, 58% of the vote, and State Senator Ed Hernandez, 42%.
That's right. And for Secretary of State, we've got Alex Padilla with 59% of the vote. Mark Musser with 41% of the vote. That's a 21% of precincts reporting. That one we may be able to call here soon. I'm not sure that's going to be surmountable.
Probably this one for sure, with almost 20% of the precincts in. Betty Yee, the incumbent, 60%, the Democrat with 40%, the Republican Roditas.
And we've also got State Treasurer results. Fiona Ma there, San Franciscan, with 58%, and Greg Conlon with just 42%, with 18% of precincts reporting.
And moving on to the State Attorney General, our incumbent, Javier Becerra, with 57% of the vote, and his challenger, Stephen Bailey, 43%, again 18%. Statewide, the vote coming in. And we're going to move on to the State Superintendent of Schools, and that result seems to be kind of holding true throughout the evening. It's close, but Marshall Tuck with 52%, 4 percentage points over Tony Thurmond, who has 48%, but again, not quite 20% of the vote counted yet.
And KPIX 5 reporter Andrea Borba is in Oakland covering the superintendent's race. Andrea?
Well, Alan, Melissa, we are talking about the most expensive public superintendent race in California history. $43 million spent in ads and persuasion to those voters that you talked about. We're talking about a 48-52 split right now. I'm here at Impact Hub Oakland. That is where Tony Thurmond is having his campaign party at this point. We expect Tom Torlakson to stop by at this point. We also expect Tony Thurmond at some point to come up to the podium and speak. It has been a very interesting race. Tony Thurmond, a two-time state assemblyman here in the East Bay, versus Marshall Tuck, who ran last go-round against Tom Torlakson, nearly beat him. And Tuck has ran public charter schools in Southern California, and his funding largely comes from billionaires, including Eli Broad and Michael Bloomberg. We're looking at a public school versus charter school referendum at this point. So we expect Tony Thurmond very soon to come speak here in Oakland about this race. We expect that to happen very soon, and we hear from the Thurmond camp at this point that they expect, as the night rolls on, that gap 48-52 will narrow and get much closer between Tony Thurmond and Marshall Tuck. Back to you.
All right, Andrea Borba, thanks. I guess we'll have to see throughout the evening where the other votes come from. That'll make a difference.
That's
since
true.
It's so close.
80% of precincts to go.
That's right, and this is also shows how contentious charter schools and public schools the debate is. It's a split down the state. Two very keyed up groups. One group wants to put a moratorium on charter schools, saying that they're bleeding students out of public schools and drawing funds out. The other saying in order for students to get a choice, they need to go to charter schools. Governor Jerry Brown was very much a charter school advocate. He formed 2 charter schools when he was mayor of Oakland, and Gavin Newsom is on the other side. He wants a moratorium, a governor-elect possibly. Gavin Newsom wants a moratorium until they can study the issue more. And whoever gets into this seat could be a very big voice in California education.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Join our viewers on KPIX for an election update.
From KPIX 5 News, this is Campaign 2018, Election Night.
And good evening, I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. We're back with more results on state and local races in this midterm election. Let's get right to the numbers. On to the race for governor. Gavin Newsom taking a substantial lead over John Cox with 56%. Cox following with 44% of the vote. This is now with 19% of precincts reporting. KPIX 5's Emily Turner is live in Los Angeles with the Gavin Newsom campaign. Emily?
Well, those numbers say quite a lot, and so does the vibe in this room. Very excited, very confident. Enough so much that the campaign manager for Gavin Newsom is calling him the governor-elect. We know that he is in the House. He got here about 8 o'clock this evening with his family in tow. We expect to be hearing from him on the stage at some point tonight. Just a few moments ago, the rapper Common, who was also in the movie Selma, was just on the stage and gave a performance. And in a lot of these raps, or a lot of the songs that he performed tonight, he talked about some of the major issues in the gubernatorial race, talking about immigration, talking about homelessness and the high cost of living. So kind of an interesting combo there. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and bring you the very latest, especially as soon as Gavin Newsom takes the stage. Back to you guys.
Emily, we're told that John Cox, Republican John Cox, is expected to concede this election within the next half hour. So we'll be waiting on that for sure.
All right, let's check some of the big state propositions that you voted on today. Prop 6, the repeal on the gasoline tax, and you can see about 10 percentage points. A no vote is winning right now at about 22% of the precincts checking in. And Proposition 10, the rent control measure that a lot of folks were a little bit confused on. This one is going down in defeat right now, 65% to 35%.
And on to Proposition 8, this was the limits on dialysis clinics revenue. Seems like the noes have it right now, with 22% of precincts reporting the noes taking 62% of the vote, the yeses with 38%. On to Prop C, the San Francisco business tax to help the homeless crisis. It's pitted tech titans against each other. It seems like the yeses have it with 55%, followed by the noes with 45%.
Let's get some local races for you. Here are the results coming in for the mayor of Oakland, and you can see a commanding lead now by Libby Schaaf, the incumbent, with 17% of the precincts reporting in. She has a huge lead over the challengers Kat Brooks and Pamela Price. KPIX 5's Kristen Ayers is following this race from the Schaaf campaign headquarters on Grand Avenue. And Kristen, I imagine they're feeling great right about now.
Yeah. A lot of excitement in the room. You can see Mayor Schaaf just behind me here making the rounds, glad-handing, talking to some of her key supporters and volunteers. She is certainly satisfied with those early numbers, showing her with 65% of the vote. That does mean that with ranked choice voting, if she continues to have that lead, she will win the race outright. Reporting live in Oakland, Kristen Ayers, KPIX 5.
right, Kristen, thank you.
And don't go anywhere. We'll have more results on your local and state races. We come back.
You're watching KPIX 5 Campaign 2018 Election Night.
Welcome back to our election stream. Let's get some latest results. First, let's start with the race for governor, and it has been called tonight. Gavin Newsom, the next governor of California, with 56% of the vote. John Cox, the Republican, 44%.
And John Cox is reported to be taking a stage to give a concession speech in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And we will cut in with that when that happens. Now on to some other state races. Lieutenant Governor, we've got Elena Kounalakis beating Ed Hernandez right now with 22% of precincts reporting. That one may be called soon as well. We'll keep an eye out for that.
A big issue on the California ballot was Proposition 6, excuse me, or we want to do the Superintendent of Public Instruction first. There we go. Let's do the Marshall Tuck and Tony Thurmond race, and this 4% difference has been holding pretty true throughout the evening. We've got 52% for Marshall Tuck, with 22% of the precincts counted so far.
And if we take a look here at the Proposition 6, that's the gas tax repeal, and that 45% means 45% of voters want to repeal the gas tax. 55% do not. So 55% in favor of the gas tax.
Well, there's that money for road repair.
With 22% of precincts reporting.
How about daylight saving time? This was put to the voters to ask them, would you want to give up daylight saving time or allow the state to do that? And it is passing with 63% of the vote, about 22 to 25% of the precincts in.
And rent control, a big issue here in the Bay Area. Proposition 10 would restore some local control over rent control, and it is failing at this point with 22% of precincts reporting. 65% say no, 35% saying yes.
That's quite a difference. Big whopper.
It seems like the polls are really sort of panning out the way I think maybe they're supposed to work. I think after 2016, a lot of pollsters went, what in the world did we do wrong?
And a lot of the media was gun shy, and so let's just,
I think maybe they got their mojo back a little bit. Things seem to be going the way they were predicted to go.
They were, especially on these ballot initiatives, and it is no votes on some of the more complex ones. It's interesting to watch voters' reactions. Yes, they are influenced by television ads. Yes, they are influenced by campaigns, especially if the issue's unknown. But something like in the governor's race, you already had Gavin Newsom as lieutenant governor for 7 years, 8 years, and before that, Jerry Brown. And it's interesting, what we're seeing in California is the continuation of a one-party state. Everybody we're talking about winning up here, with the exception of possibly Steve Poizner for insurance commissioner, is on the Democratic side. In some cases, it's Democrat versus Democrat. And in some ways, this election has been a referendum on outgoing Governor Jerry Brown. Because if people weren't happy with him, I'm not sure we'd be seeing the same results. But Jerry Brown defied political odds and was able to have a second term in which he's going out as popular as he was when he was going in, and that's unusual.
Well, one of the interesting things that Democrats will say is in Washington, it's not good to have Republicans in control of the House and the Senate and the White House. But then you look at Democrats in California, and they're more than happy to be in control of all branches of government.
Funny how things work that way, doesn't it? Exactly. Democracy
California
works just fine as long as you're in control, and it's good to have a balance when you're not.
Is Jerry Brown going out more popular his second time around as governor?
Oh, yes,
when
absolutely.
He went out
the first time he went out, you have to remember he ran for president, he had ran for senator. I think we're going to go to John Cox right now, and let's have what he has to say about the governor's race.
Okay.
My wonderful daughters, Julie friends Shannon, Stephanie, who are here. They put up with their dad's ideals and his tribulations in trying to change the political system. Also want to thank my brother and sister Doug and Leslie, who are also Californians, the rest of my family here. And you know, I want to thank my nephew Caleb Reagan, by the way. He got quite an education on his year away from college. He's going to go back to college, and I think he's going to go back a lot wiser than he was. I want to thank Dave Horowitz, Bud Caldwell, our North and South, our state finance chairs. They did just an outstanding job squeezing as much money out of every one of you, as well as all my friends and all the people who really want to make this state great. I want to thank the best political team I believe that we have put together in decades in this state, headed by Wayne Johnson and Tim Rosales. A great political director, David Reed. I called him the Prince of Darkness because he always got me up on these bus trips in the dark. And the best communications team that you've ever seen in this state, and that is the bearded wonder, Matt Shoup, right here. Matt, thank you. And your team, Victoria, Ian, all the people, and Sarah Lee, thank you for adding your efforts to this as well. And of course, the guy that drove me around, one of the Davids, David Morgan, as well as David Cushman, our grassroots director. So thank you all. Hope I included everybody in that. You know, any effort has to have a great team. Every effort has to have people that believe in you. And I hope that each and every one of you believe in the mission that we made this campaign about. And if there's anything that we did, I consider myself very proud that we highlighted the incredible struggle that the people of this state have had for years under the people that are running this state. We identified the needs of these people, the fact that they can't afford housing, they can't afford gasoline, they can't afford the basics of life. And let me tell you, this Republican Party will be back in this state. And our
John
path
Cox
to
speaking
success
in
is
San
gonna be
Diego,
based
conceding, we would assume, conceding the race to Gavin Newsom at this point in the evening, the way the numbers are looking.
You know, I have to say, for someone who didn't get a lot of support from the party nationally, who is running in a state where his party is the third biggest in
After
the state.
decline to states.
Yeah, because Democrats decline to state, and then Republicans. You know, it's not a bad showing for somebody working with those kind of resources.
So some voters are disgruntled. They want something different.
Gavin could have had a larger margin, but what we're seeing is independents voting for John Cox. Is that a vote for John Cox or against Gavin Newsom? Gavin Newsom's the more known person. He is not going to have as easy a job up in Sacramento as some people think. It's going to be tough up there.
And it's not an overwhelming mandate. If the numbers hold, then he's looking at trying to govern a state that is more divided, more evenly divided than he might have liked in terms of, you know, being able to say all the voters demand that I do this.
People are pretty clear on who Gavin Newsom is and what he stands for, because he was very well known as mayor of San Francisco.
Exactly.
All right, let's take it out to Emily Turner.
That's right. She's live in Los Angeles at Gavin Newsom's campaign headquarters. Emily?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. They didn't have that speech on here in the overhead projector. I can tell you, though, that this crowd would have been cheering. It's now official. Gavin Newsom is the governor-elect of California. This basically just backs up what his campaign manager was telling us today, that he were coming into today very confident, so confident, in fact, that they have spent the last few weeks campaigning for other candidates, not stumping for himself, but really making sure that some of the legislature, as well as the House seats, especially in Southern California, that are so critical to the Democratic Party, actually did go blue. In fact, his campaign manager told me that they picked Southern California for this campaign party for that reason. It was very intentional. First, they wanted to make sure that folks knew Gavin wasn't just a Northern California candidate, but also that if they were here, a vote for Gavin, they say, would be a vote for one of the other Democratic candidates, especially in Orange County, which right now has so many of those seats that are up for grabs at this moment. And they said, his campaign manager said that tomorrow is when the real work begins. Obviously, it's been a 3.5-year campaign. That's a lot of work. They need some rest, but that he will be getting to work tomorrow. And one of the top priorities that we've kind of been talking about tonight is the homelessness situation, and that tomorrow he'll begin that work, and he will be appointing a homeless czar for the state that will then work on the state, county, and city levels to really try and fix this problem for Californians. It'll be interesting to see what he does with some of the other things you guys talked about. Higher education, that's been a big issue for him, as well as immigration, as well as affordable housing, which he says are tied, not just affordable housing also, but with homelessness and the high cost of living. So we'll have to make sure to follow that through the evening. Now that John Cox has conceded, we are anticipating any moment now, but probably within the next half hour, for Gavin Newsom to take the stage. We understand that he's going to be introduced by his wife, and of course we will be here to bring that to you live. Back to you guys.
Okay, Emily, just a quick question. I mean, Gavin Newsom had said winning the governorship would be great, but it wouldn't mean as much unless the Democrats took back the House. And I'm sure he's going to talk about that tonight, but it looks like it's a win-win as far as the Newsom camp goes.
Well, one of the things that he said, that his campaign manager said that, but his campaign manager also went on to say that this victory proves that they are the progressive option opposite Trump. So very much a polarization of the current president, as well as what, the party that now holds the Senate majority, or still holds the Senate majority. And he says that that's backed up by the House of Representatives now being controlled by the Democratic Party. So I'm sure he will be mentioning that tonight, which we should be hearing hopefully within the hour.
All right, Emily Turner in LA, thanks so much.
You know, it's interesting, two takeaways or look-aheads for Gavin Newsom tonight. First, this is automatically going to catapult him up to national stature. The country is looking for someone to talk about Trump. This is at a time when they're going to see a host of Democrats out running or getting their campaigns together, possibly including California Senator Kamala Harris, to run for president. Gavin Newsom will not be running for president this time. He will be outside of that. So he is going to spend 2 years sort of above the fray of Democrats, selling himself and California as an alternative to Trump. The flip side of that is Gavin Newsom tonight is talking about homelessness in California, the epidemic of it that has gone from all the way from Redding down to San Diego. We used to see it just in San Francisco. It's everywhere. Remember, in 8 years of Governor Jerry Brown, did you ever hear Jerry Brown talk about homelessness? No. I was talking with a congressman who asked the governor about that a little while back, and he said, well, I haven't. And one of the reasons is if you say a word, you own it. That is not an issue that Jerry Brown wanted to own.
Well,
but Gavin Newsom is going straight out for it,
well,
and he is going to have to own it.
He kind of got home with it after being the mayor of San Francisco and seeing what's happening here.
But
I don't know if he could have escaped it.
That is a huge one, and by having to face that one, that is going to be the toughest issue that any governor has faced in California since the disturbances of 1968.
But think about it, too. What a win that would be should he be able to crack that and get a solution, because that's a national problem as well.
Exactly. But it is also, as Melissa and I and you know from covering San Francisco, it has been the weight around every mayor's neck in San Francisco since Dianne Feinstein, and no one has come up with that solution, including Gavin Newsom. And it's going to be very interesting to see what he does as that becomes the centerpiece of his agenda.
But, big winning tonight for the status quo. We've got another Democrat for governor. Dianne Feinstein won her election.
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi. We don't have rent control. We don't have dialysis clinic profit. Profit caps. We have not repealed the gas tax. So very much tomorrow is going to look a lot like today, based on the election results that we have seen here.
Good points.
That's it. And again, a statement on the status quo is a statement on Governor Jerry Brown. People like
Things
the way
okay.
it seems it's being okay. The economy is going. Poverty is a huge issue. Rents are high. But so far, we saw a huge turnout. And if the numbers hold here in the state of California, it was an affirmation of keeping things going the way they are.
Yeah, win. Okay.
That's right. And so as we close out, as we close out our election stream, we're going to get a final look at the numbers at the top races in our state. There we go. The governor, Gavin Newsom, with 56% of the vote.
And John Cox, 44%. He just conceded. We have yet to hear Gavin Newsom. We will expect to hear from him, of course, probably in the 10 o'clock, if not 11 o'clock hour. And the U.S. Senate race, Dianne Feinstein declaring victory over Kevin De Leon. She's going back for 6 more years to Washington with 54% of the vote.
And on the gas tax, Proposition 6, it's tightened up just a bit here, but it looks to be losing with 25% of the precincts reporting. 53% say no, keep the gas tax. The remainder say yes. And on Proposition 10, rent control, 65% say no. 35% say yes.
Quite a difference. All right, here's a look at the shift of power in Congress. The Democrats have retaken the majority in the House of Representatives. CBS News says that Democrats will hold at least 220 seats, 2 more than they needed to tip it. 28 races still undecided, including several here in our state of California. Republicans will keep a majority in the U.S. Senate.
And we're going to be live in 15 minutes with more on your local and statewide races at 10 o'clock on our sister station, KBCW 44 Cable 12.
And complete coverage tonight on the news at 11 on KPIX 5 with our entire team live across the state.
And stay up to date with the latest race results on our website, kpix.com/elections.
Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
KPIX 5 News. Expect more.